All right, everybody. So now we're going to move on to the toms. We're going to do them both at once because the rack tom is hit twice in the entire song. Most of it's going to be 4 tom, and it's a pretty simple setup on these. It doesn't take much to get toms sounding the way I want usually, so every now and then I'll have to fly a sample in, but usually if they're tuned halfway decent, you can do a good job. All right. So here's where you started. And here's where we ended up on that tom. That's REQ6. Again, you saw me do this on the snare and the kick. Fundamental boost, cut right below the fundamental. I mean, the biggest reason this boost is there, just so I can see it and just add a little bit of oomph. But cut and a little boost at, 5K to add a little bit more smack to it. And then American Class A, I ended up using a gate. The gate was finicky. And then, cut it 1,000 hertz. Cut it 100 hertz. I'm sort of negated that fundamental boost I did because probably shouldn't have, but whatever. Low pass, no high pass on this one, and drive and compression. So I did all my compression here, didn't fly in any other compressor. So let's do just the EQ. So I mean, you can hear just stock, just what was recorded. It's not bad, just a lot of lows and low mids sort of piling up. I'm getting in the way. Just so this cut was basically just trying to clear up stuff that was getting in the way. Let's clear all this out. All right, so high pass, you can tell didn't really do anything. Let's just add to my fundamental, which is 85. We're gonna mark that down here. Okay, so here's where it gets fun. Again, the reason I do this little boost here, you can see this curve change a bit, right? That fundamental, if I'm playing too much, you see how it dropped just a hair? Not enough for me to worry about, but that's why I fly in these second and third cuts, because I widen out my bandwidth to where they're not quite hitting. That way I can sort of feather in the EQ changes I want. So here's just with that little boost. Here's with this first cut. Just takes out a little boom boom to it. Second cut. Further cleans up the signal, and the third cut at 834. And that's worlds better right there. I probably shouldn't even have this 5K boost, but let's see what it does. There's that. All right. Turn this American Class A on. Let's turn all these off. So what we're going to first here, I did a pretty big gain boost, and then a pretty good big gain drop. So I boosted it 8, dropped it 10. Probably ended up with a little craziness going on. And so the thing about this compressor is it just has automatic makeup gain. So it can sometimes boost you into redlining a little bit if you're not careful. So sometimes dropping that output volume is required. But let me hit play on this real quick. So no big change except this drive just makes it sound just better. Short answer. Adds a little bit of saturation to it. All right. And let's show you what we did with this. So with this gate. So obviously gated down now. Add a little bit of punch, a little bit of sustain, not a ton. It's still all the way open. Closed, open. So I'm not trying to get rid of in between every single tom hit. That's almost impossible with how he was playing. So it was mainly just in between. Maybe try and cut off those cymbals a little bit at the end. A little bit of punch. All right, in this EQ, the big thing, you got a little bit of cut at 100 hertz, which just drops the funnel. The big cut is this. Oh, is it 1,000 hertz and below? Oh, sorry. The big change is this big bell cut at minus 6 dB at 1000 hertz. So, see, it just sounds more like it's in your face. So what that did is it cut down a lot of frequencies that other drums were coming in on. So it feels like you're listening to more just the tom. And the reason I added this high cut, obviously it adds a little more air to it when you have that off, but you get rid of some of the cymbals if you're dropping this. All right, now the compressor. Let's see, what was the ratio? 3 to 1, 4 to 1. And then pretty fast release. Spread the attack a little bit. Nice big tom. Gotta love this thing for making toms. All right, and we're gonna do, there we go, just this rack tom. So here's stock, and here is after. That is quite the difference. Let's see if this one sounds a little. I am going to tighten up that snare hit though. Or not snare hit. I am going to tighten up that cymbal hit a little bit in there. All right. Now let me show you what happened here. So REQ6 again. I mean, very, very similar EQ. See that fundamental moved? And this high boost moved. Obviously to fit the, well, everything moved just to fit the tom a little better, but it's the same process. Again, more cuts on the mid-range in the American Class A, but the process was about the same. So let me turn that off. Just turn this on. Let's go. And we'll keep those cymbals in there. All right. So here's without. Here's with that high pass. All right, first that boost, 164. So again, this is there just more as a visual. That first cut right above the fundamental. I mean, just makes it sound a little less warm, a little less getting in the way. This fourth cut's what's going to be the big one, or this fourth band. And same thing, this 1.1. Just adds a little bit more smack to it. All right, then move on over to this American Class A. Turn all these off again. All right, no in and output gain adjustments this time, so this is just a high pass and the drive. Turn that drive off. Again, just the cut right up to where that fundamental begins. Bring this drive up. Overdo it right there. Let's be aggressive. Let's leave it on 7. All right. Add a little bit of punch, a little bit of sustain, about the same as on the other one. All right, and this is where the big change is going to happen. So massive cuts at 500 hertz and 1.5. Really hear that fundamental jump out. So this is again an example of where I did that high pass to get rid of like a lot of low end, and then use the shelf to really shape around the fundamental. Let me show you. So here's without. All right, so here's boosting this. So it just adds a ton of low end and ring to it, then just bring this down. So that's just this fundamental that's really being affected, and then There you go. And then compression. Bring that back down. And we could well, let's do something else. So that's that, and let's do something about that cymbal bleed if we can. Another use of the F6. See that right there? You actually see it's hotter than when the tom is hit, so what we can do is bring that over 6492. Bring that attack to like pretty fast. Bring that to -8, I think. Or -9 is fine. Slow down that release. And wind that out. So it's subtle, but here's without, here's with. I'll wind that out a bit more actually, and bring and that just smooths it out. Obviously, it's not going to duck it a ton because I'm just not going to. It's decreasing a threshold. It's not ducking. But it's a great way to do it. Now, you could always play with the side chain, but that's too rich for my blood today. That's it for Tom's. I hope you enjoyed, and we will move along next round. This is sort of a jump in because I lost a couple of my drum videos when I realized this wasn't recording properly. So I've got most of the rest of the videos already recorded, so I'm filming this out of order. But see you guys next time. We're going to move on to the bass. And if you have any questions, just let me know.